standing your truth. Every voice matters, yeah, we see you.
Love who you are, let the world know. This is your moment, let your light glow. More than a story, more than a name. We break the silence, rewrite the frame. Autism, neurodivergence, every mind shines bright. Mental health, self-love, stepping into the light. For the parents, the dreamers, the ones who push through. Auesomely You, we celebrate you. Auesomely You, we rise, we shine. Vowing voices, breaking the lines. This ain't just a podcast, this is a move. Celebrating every story, making room. For the ones who speak in ways they don't understand. For the hearts that love big, for the ones who take a stand. For the ones who see the world in a different way. We amplify your voice, let the world hear what you say. Every challenge, every win, every step you take. You are seen, you are loved, this is your space. No more silence, no more fear. Auesomely You, we're standing here. We are the voices, we are the change.
Hey, you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying season 2. I am your host, Crystal Jordan, and today we're back with another amazing, you already know, guest. And as I say in every episode and every season, I want you guys to sit in their shoes for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long they're here to tell their story. And I want you guys to enjoy and embrace them. But today we have Cristina Phillips. She is a speaker, an author, a trauma-informed wellness coach whose path to motherhood has been marked by an unimaginable loss and deep resilience. After losing 3 biological children due to a rare genetic syndrome, Cristina and her husband were blessed to adopt 3 incredible children. Twin girls born on Christmas. Yeah, I know I was born on Christmas, fun fact. And a son born just months after their loss. Each child brought light into darkness through a road that wasn't anything but easy. Her daughters was exposed to substance in the womb, and her son was later diagnosed with being on the spectrum. While this journey has been filled with countless challenges, it has been filled with one deep love, transformational, and faith. Cristina now uses her live experiences to guide other women through grief, healing, and growth. You guys, without further ado, I'm super excited to have her, Cristina Simmons. Hi!
Hey, I'm just over here dancing to your song. It was so good.
I'm so happy you love the song. That song was so much fun to create and write. I wanted to be neurodiverse affirming for the community. And I dance every time I play it too. So I feel it. So I'm so happy to have you. Tell my audience, who are you? And beyond your amazing bio, get them a glimpse into your story.
Thank you so much for having me here. I think what you're doing is amazing, and we need more of us spreading the word of how awesome autism is. But yes, I'll give a short synopsis of my story anyway. So my husband and I have been married for 26 years. We live in Florida. And when we were married pretty young, because he's almost 50 and I'll be 49 in July, but we were pregnant when I was 25 for the first time. And when I was about 6 months along, we found out that the baby was very sick due to a very rare gene, a recessive gene that we both carry. So 25% chance of a sick baby, 75% chance of a healthy baby. And it happened to us 3 times. So we lost 2 girls and a boy. They were fairly close together. And from that, I developed anxiety, depression, had panic attacks, all those fun things that grief can do to you. And I came into the marriage with trauma from my childhood. So I didn't have a lot of great coping mechanisms or strategies. I didn't have good self-esteem. I was one of those girls that always thought that I wasn't good enough. Nobody liked me. I had trouble with friendships, and it was because of the verbal abuse that I had endured from my father as a child. And my dad's passed away now, and I love him, but he did the best that he could with the way that he was raised. And so I've come to know that, and I did forgive him before he passed away, which I'm very grateful for, but it made my life even harder, and then to experience the trauma that we did. So fast forward a little bit, we were blessed to adopt those children. Our twin girls were born on Christmas Day, which was the greatest Christmas present we ever received. And our biological son, passed away. The girls were almost 5 when we lost him. And then we adopted our son about 3 months, three or 4 months, I guess, after our last son passed away. And having twins, all I knew was having twins. And they were born with cocaine in their system. So they were a little bit challenging in the beginning, had some withdrawal symptoms, and didn't sleep, had trouble eating. But other than that, they developed pretty typically. So when our son came along, he was a great baby, terrific baby. But as he got older, 1.5, 2, we started seeing some differences in him. And I wasn't really sure what to make of it because, first of all, I didn't have my own biological children. All I had to go off of was like friends, kids, and then the twins. And really, long story short with him, kicked out of every daycare we ever had him in. He was super sensory, had a lot of feeding problems. He's speaking, and sometimes he speaks too much. But I'm sure all parents go through that with their kids. So high functioning, I guess, which these days with all the neurodiversity affirming, which I'm so on board with, I'm not sure if we can use that term anymore or not, but he is high functioning. So we had so much trouble when he was little, screaming fits. He had severe separation anxiety from me. And with all of the anxiety that I already had, his challenges amplified all of that. And so I had my own sensory challenges just because of all the trauma. And so his sensory and my sensory were colliding. And it was just a lot. And we live in a relatively small community, and we're about an hour from Orlando, an hour from Tampa. But when he was little and we were having so many problems, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn to get help. And the hospital where he was diagnosed was very informative. They told us about all of these therapies that he needed, but they were all hours away from our home. And my daughters were still young. My husband and I were trying to work full time. And I started to call around. Back then, I'm old. We used to have to look in the phone book. I know a lot of people won't even know what that is now. But I'm looking up in the phone book, trying to find any place to help us. Some of them wouldn't even answer the phone. Most of them had a wait list as long as your leg. And so it got to the point where I said, I'm just going to have to do this myself. God gave me this child. I know he is special, and I need to know how his brain works. I need to understand and get into his world so that I can raise him and give him the best life that I can, because I had gone through so much. I had prayed for him so hard, and I wanted to do the best job as a mom that I could. So at the age of 39, with 3 small kids. And the girls had their own needs, special needs along the way too. So my husband thought I had completely lost my mind, but I said, I want to go back to school to be an occupational therapist so that we can raise our boy. And so I did that. It took me 4 years to get my master's degree, but I have been in occupational therapy now for 9 years. I currently work in the school system with developmentally delayed and autistic kids, and I love them. They're my favorite. I'm actually most fond of the non-speaking kids. I love to really try to understand them, to learn how they communicate, and to help the teachers and the parents learn how they communicate, because I truly believe that every behavior is a communication. And I always try to put myself in their shoes. Like, how frustrating is it to not be able to communicate your needs? I just can't fathom how they feel and what their world is like every single minute of the day with all of the sensory stimulus coming at them, and their sensory system is so sensitive to all of that. So that's one thing that I always used to tell my husband. Our son's name is Judson. It's hard to be Judson. So that's how I would keep my calm, I guess, is because I would always try to remember, like, it's so hard to be him. He is trying so hard every minute of every day. And I would like to just speak to marriages just for a minute too, because all of our trauma was hard on our marriage, but a special needs child is especially hard on a marriage. And my husband couldn't understand Judson's world for a long time. And, he's like most men. They just, he's the dad. And when dad says something, then the child should comply. And that was not Judson. He did not comply with most things. And I kept trying to tell my husband, I'm like, he's not being bad on purpose. And I think that's another thing that I want people to know. They are not being disrespectful. They are not being a brat. They are trying to exist in this world the only way they know how. And sometimes that comes out as being non-compliant. So I just want to put out compassion and love into the world and help others through our story. And so that's just why I really love everything that you're doing, and hope that I can add value to your audience any way that I can. So, I can't hear you.
You guys, I'm so sorry I had my mic mute, but I'm so happy you told your story. So one of my questions I do have for you is, how did you navigate being a mom of 3 and having a son on the spectrum?
So for many years, I was in total survival mode. I don't know how I did it, to tell you the truth, because I just kept thinking how hard life was. Like, life is not supposed to be this hard. So one of the ways that I did navigate that is by educating myself. And I think that that's one thing that parents of any kind of special needs child should do. Don't just trust what the doctors say that they're capable of, or what kind of level they can achieve. Our son has way exceeded our expectations. Exceeded, I don't think that's a word. Exceeded, there we go. Exceeded our expectations in every way. And I said before that he was kicked out of most every school he was ever in. And at one point, he was in second grade and they dismissed him from the school. It was very abrupt. One of those things where I got the call that said someone needs to come and pick him up and he is not welcome back. And that was it. There was no information as to where to put him, or even if I had to finish out the school year, and we had no idea what to do. I couldn't even go pick him up. I was so distraught. I sent my poor mother-in-law to go get him because I thought there's no way that I can go into that school and not completely be a fool for them kicking out my baby. So that's another reason why I went back to school. And I'm not recommending for everybody to go back to school to get a whole new degree to raise their child. But I've always said that I wish that I had a me when he was little, because I was lost. I was completely lost and felt like I was doing a terrible job, like I was a failure as a parent. And none of that was true. But in the moment, you don't know what else to think because every day is so hard. So again, that's why I went back to school, to educate myself. And I always try to stay up on all of the most current research on autism and what other therapists are doing, and even physical therapists and speech therapists and all of that. So
I want to go back to what you said. You said you wish you had a me. When did you hear what I said? Did I go out when I said that?
You went out a little bit. I heard that you said that I wish that I'd had a me when he was little. Yes.
Yes. So I want to go back to that moment because unfortunately I hear a lot of parents talk about how their kids are getting kicked out of daycare because the daycares don't have the resources or know that their kid is autistic. So I want to go back to that moment because I'm pretty sure it maybe somebody listen to this episode who has a younger child and they are trying to navigate and they don't know anything. And they're probably using this podcast as a resource to learn more about how to raise their child. So I want to touch back on I wish you had you said you wish you had a me when your child was little.
Yeah. So even in the respect of me as a fellow mom with an autistic child, but so I bring both perspectives. I bring the therapist perspective and the mom perspective, which I think is important because I have a different kind of compassion for a parent with a child with special needs because I've been there. I've done that. There's not anything that you can tell me that's going to surprise me. I have seen it all. I have heard it all. I have experienced it all. I have cried about it all. So I just think that we have to have community. You've got to find somebody that will listen, somebody that's forged the path before you so that they can give you resources and tools and strategies. And none of this comes overnight. You know, it takes time, unfortunately. But yeah, I just wish that I had found an autism community. But back then, he's 16 now. So back then it wasn't as prevalent. People weren't talking about it as much. And so I just want to really change that narrative. We all need to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things.
The reason why I want you to touch on that, because I know for a fact that a lot of parents talk about their kids getting kicked out of daycare. And my son was never in daycare because I want him to be verbal, which it hasn't happened yet. I'm holding out hope for him to be verbal. But I wanted to go back to, you also said, you talked about a little bit about your marriage. Because unfortunately, 82%, I'm not sure if the numbers increased or went down, of marriages that have special need kids fail. And that's a topic that most people don't talk about because it's taboo to talk about, right? But I wanted to touch on that a little bit because it's important that a lot of people understand what somebody who has a special need kid go through.
Yeah, like I said a little bit before, my husband just really didn't understand. And I think that's the difference between a mom and a dad, too. Um, Going back to when we lost our biological children, my husband and I have talked about this, and he told me one time that as soon as he heard that there was something wrong, he detached. He detached from the baby, he detached from the notion of being a father, because he knew that I was going to need his support, and I didn't have the luxury of detaching because I was carrying the child. But I think that's true with special needs kids too. I think the dads aren't always so involved in everything. You know, my phone was the one they called when he was screaming and they couldn't get him to stop. My phone was the one they called when he had been dismissed from the school and couldn't come back. So, and not that my husband was not involved in his raising, but it's the mom that everybody calls. It's the mom that goes to the meetings. And he would go to every meeting that he could, but like I said, we were both working full time as well. So we both couldn't always get off work. So it was mom that had to go. And when you're sitting around a table of you and then 8 to 15 professionals that are all telling you that there's something wrong with your child, that your child doesn't act like the other kids, that your child can't be with the other kids, it's so devastating as a parent. I mean, and I try to tell the teachers in the school system now, because there's a disconnect between the teachers and the parents, because the teachers are trying to convey the quote unquote bad behaviors and things that are happening during the day. And the parents seem like they don't care. But I always try to tell the teachers, sometimes you can't hear one more time that your child was bad again. You can't hear one more time that they hit a friend. It's just, you become disassociated from the whole situation, and you start to sort of disappear a little bit because you feel like your child's behavior is a reflection of you. And in typical cases, that can be true, but there's nothing typical about these kids. And I'm thankful that my son is different. Different is really cool. I mean, he is like the coolest kid, and I will brag on him for a minute. So we finally found an autism school to put him in, and he was there for 4 or 5 years. My timelines get off just because of everything that we've experienced. So it was 4 or 5 years, at least 4. And he's now a sophomore in high school, but last year when he was a freshman, I started to realize that the autism school was not able to give the kids the academics that I really wanted him to have, because our son is so smart. He's very capable, very smart. He just processes at a different rate and sometimes needs more time to do things. And so anyway, I heard that little voice that said, you need to take him out of the autism school and put him into public high school. And I thought, I'm going to throw up. Like, this is going to be so hard and none of us can do it. But I am the occupational therapist for this district. And so I'm at the high school once a week. And so I knew that I would be in the system and I would have close contact with the teachers. But he has excelled. He has taken it and run with it. Not that we don't have our challenges, but he is doing so well. And I'm so proud of him. And I'm so glad that as a family, we had the courage to give him that opportunity.
I love that. I wrote down that I love that you went back to school to be more educated. I resonate with you saying that you wish you had a me. I resonate with that because I wish I have a me too for my child because I am that person. So I understand. Like when I say your episode is like really touching me because everybody's not gonna want to wake up and go back to school or become an advocate and to help other families, because I'm assuming you help other families as well. But I also want to touch on something because my spirit and God, because you're big on faith. I want to touch on one thing that was in your bio that stood out to me the most. It says you are a trauma-bound wellness coach. Can you explain what that is, just in case any other parent, such as myself, is going through anything trauma related in their life and they feel like they need to reach out to you because you are relatable, because you are an autism mom as well?
Yeah, so being trauma informed simply means that you have experienced, in my case, decades of trauma. So the trauma itself was my teacher, and I have learned from every experience that I've had. And it's taken me a long time to process all the trauma and to really dig out the triggers and how I now deal with things as opposed to how I dealt with them or did not deal with them in the past. Because I think that's the real problem, is that people are not dealing with what is happening. You become disassociated. So just my background in occupational therapy as well, because there is a lot of the reason that I fell in love with occupational therapy, when the doctors told me that he needed occupational therapy, that was the first therapy that they told me he needed. I had never heard of occupational therapy. I didn't know what it was. I always thought I wanted to be a physical therapist when I was in college the first time around in my 20s. And when I started doing research on occupational therapy, the word that stood out to me was holistic. And that is exactly what these kids need. You need to approach them in a holistic manner. You need to look at all of their world, the physical, the mental, even the spiritual, the feelings, the sensations, I mean, everything. So but essentially that's why I'm trauma informed, is because I have survived decades of trauma.
I'm not gonna say I love that, but I know it's people who need it. That's why I wanted to touch on that. I didn't want you to leave this episode and not talk about that, because we all go through trauma in our own way. Some people trauma may just be they have an autistic kid and they don't know how to navigate it. That can be trauma bound for somebody too. It's a lot of different things. So that's why I want to touch on it. So now it's time for the awesomely fun segment. It's called Keeping It Real segment. This is a segment where you get to not think so much and just have fun.
Okay.
So my question is, if your life was a movie, what title would it be?
Oh my, let me think about this for a second. Probably, wow, this is hard. That's a hard question. Really, God? That's what I'm going to go with.
I am done. If my life was a movie, I'm going to answer that question because what I'm currently going through, I would name it The Reset because I'm in a
Nice.
season of resetting and letting go of things that no longer service me and letting go of people who are not who they portray to be. So it would be called The Reset. That's the
That's
season
beautiful.
I'm in right now. Thank you.
I love it.
My next question is fill in the blank. If you had a billboard, what would it say? If you had a life message, what would it be?
Be love and give love, no matter how wide a canyon there seems to be between you and the other person.
That was good. It just hit for me. That hit too close to home. So I'm trying to think of something else. And I love that because the one thing I grew up with is love. And I feel like the world needs more love. Even in times where we're our backs are against the wall and we don't see no way out of it, or we're being wronged or accused of stuff, love is the one thing that matters because God loves his kids no matter what. You can sin today and
And I
repent.
think just for what you're going through too, I think sometimes when someone wrongs us, it's something deep within them. It has nothing to do with you. And that's what you need to remember.
Yeah, I agree with that. My next question is, what makes you feel awesomely you?
I love our life, and I haven't always been able to say that, but God is showing me that everything, every little thing in your life happens for a reason. So we just need to look for and receive the messages that are from those circumstances.
I love that. My next question, before we get to the final question, is where can my audience find you? Like, do you have any offers for the Auesomely You crowd? Like the Awesome Tribe, what do you have for them? Or what nugget you want to leave with them before they come out of this episode?
So I'm most active on Instagram, but I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I am working on my website. So everything Instagram, LinkedIn, my website, Cristina P. Simmons. And then Facebook is a little more family oriented. So it's Cristina Borges Simmons, and I can give you the spelling of that. That's just my maiden name. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy to connect with anybody. Send me a DM on any of the platforms. My email is info@Cristina P. Simmons. And I'm always happy to talk with other parents, families, and give any advice that I can for sure.
I think this is my favorite part of all episodes Before we wrap up, I would love for you to share affirmation that our listeners and audience can take away from today's conversation. Something that reminds them to embrace their uniqueness. The reason why I end every podcast with an affirmation, because affirmations are important, and affirmations personally help me get out of depression. Personally, that's what it did for me. And I want my listeners to be like, I needed that affirmation today, because every guest affirmation has been different and I love it. So I can't wait to hear your affirmation.
I do love affirmations. I agree with you. So mine is going to be a little bit different. The first part is going to be a little weird is good. And I am a good parent. I think you just need to repeat to yourself every day, I am a good parent. I am doing a good job, until you believe it, because it's the truth.
All right, my listeners. So she said, a little weird is good, and I am a good parent. So on a count of 3, we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. A little weird is good, and I'm a good parent.
I am a good parent.
I'm going to tell you why. This is God know what he be doing. I got to say that. I personally needed an affirmation because I don't think I'm a good parent. I look at other people, amazing, awesome kids, and I feel like I can be doing this for my son. My son don't have this. My son don't have this. I understand I'm awesome to so many people, but I don't feel awesome to my kid. So thank you. And I'm pretty sure somebody listening to this episode can resonate with what I just said, because a little weird is good, but I am a good parent. So even though I don't feel like I'm a good parent, sometimes I know I'm a good parent. So thank you. With that being stated, you guys, this is the end of our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I say all the time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to be featured in Becoming Her, sorry, you guys. If you want to be featured in Auesomely You magazine, you guys go to auesomelyyoumagazine.com. And yes, we are all becoming her, and I am her, and you are her. So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Crystal Jordan, and this was an Auesomely You Podcast.
We rise, we shine, vowing voices, breaking the lines. This ain't just a podcast, this is a move, celebrating every story, making room. For the ones who speak in ways they don't understand, for the hearts that love big, for the ones who take a stand, for the ones who see the world in a different way. We amplify your voice, let the world hear what you say. Every challenge, every win, every step you take, you are seen, you are loved, this is your space. No more silence, no more fear, awesomely you, we're standing here. We are the voices, we are the